this week's instalment. Once upon a time, this mild-mannered actor was fond of a spot of train spotting. But if you trespass this star's gate, then he'll get in your face and give you the full Monty. It's strange that he played a policeman from the Highlands, because I always thought he was more like a Bobby Carlyle. And he's on tonight's Hollywood Swingers.
That professional introduction means it's time for our favourite segment of the show, Hollywood Swingers, where we celebrate those Hollywood stars who have swung into music. And Hollywood Swingers is so rare to have a Scottish Hollywood swinger, but we have one this week. Robert Carlyle. Tell me about him, Paul.
Not only do we have a Scottish swinger, Robert Carlyle, born on this day, 14th of April 1961.
Bon anniversaire, Bobby.
Yeah, it was a Friday in Maryhill, Glasgow, to Mother Elizabeth and Father Joseph.
Amazing.
Now, Carlyle's mother left when he was 4 years old, leaving him to be raised by his dad. And at the age of 16, the youngster left school, no qualifications, and went to work with his dad as a painter and decorator. After reading Arthur Miller's play The Crucible, Carlyle was inspired to get involved in drama at the age of 21. So he worked for as a painter and decorator for quite a while.
Yeah.
It was a move that surprised his family, but Carlyle says that despite some ups and downs, it was something his father always supported him in.
Oh.
Training at the then RSAMD, now the Royal Conservatoire, Carlyle says he refused to bow to pressure to change his accent to a received pronunciation accent. And he walked away at one point. Says, nah, I'm away, I'm not doing this. And the principal of the school pled for him to return.
I wonder who was principal of the school back then.
I need to look it up.
Okay.
Which Carlyle did, he returned, but only on the condition that he be allowed to speak in his own accent.
Good for you, Robert Carlyle.
Soon after, the actor made his big and small screen debuts in 1990, starring on television in an episode of Taggart, of course.
Yes.
As well as starring in the Scottish film Silent Scream, that had Ian Glenn in it. It was directed by David Heyman.
Ian Glenn's the guy for Game of Thrones.
Correct.
Yes.
And he also had a lead role in the Ken Loach film Riff Raff alongside Ricky Tomlinson.
Amazing.
Alongside the obligatory appearance in The Bill, as well as appearances in a few more kind of smaller British films. It wasn't until 1994 and a 3-episode run in the Robbie Coltrane series Cracker that really brought him to the public attention for the first time. He was starring as the murderous Liverpool fan Al Baconcella.
God, you forget that Scottish people used to be allowed on telly.
I know, it's mad, isn't it? And talking of, they used to make it here as well. Soon after, the actor won the lead role in the BBC Scotland mystery police show Hamish Macbeth.
Oh, my dad.
Which ran for 3 series.
Loves it.
Still fondly remembered almost 30 years later.
My dad, he likes the books.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets annoyed and watches the programmes and tells you all the things they've got wrong. And he loves it. He has a great old time.
But it was a starring role in 1996's big British hit, Trainspotting, that really shot him to stardom. And we've now featured quite a lot of the actors that have been in Trainspotting, who strangely get into singing as well.
Johnny Lee Miller,
Ewan McGregor's done it.
Uh-huh.
There's probably more.
I think that's it. Kelly MacDonald?
I don't think we've done Kelly MacDonald.
Okay, well, she's on the list, surely. She must have done a bit of singing.
We've not done Kevin McKidd, and I know he's definitely done some singing.
Yeah. Can he stop that man from singing?
No, you can't stop him from singing.
He's like, I've got an idea for another Grey's Anatomy episode. I get hit with something in the head that makes me sing everything. I think they've done that twice. Right, continue.
Now, playing the psychotic hardman Begbie, Carlyle was one of the many actors in the movie that became synonymous with British film following its massive worldwide success. The next year, he starred in the crime drama Face alongside Ray Winston, and funnily enough, David Albarn from Blur was also in this movie.
Okay.
But then, once again, he starred in a hit British film that captured the imaginations of people across the country. And whilst Trainspotting was very much of the Britpop era and it appealed to a very adult audience, his role as Gaz Schofield in The Full Monty, for which he won the BAFTA for Best Actor, kind of just as risky, although in a very different way. But it's funny how he starred in these 2 massive British films, basically back to back.
Yeah.
Very much polar opposites, but both still have a lasting legacy to this day.
And changed, like, politically were important. I mean, Phil Monty was part of the whole Cool Britannia movement. It spurred it. It was like massive, and it was super important to have working class voices. It was that weird 90s working class era where there was actual films about working class people like Brastoff and the Phil Monty. They're the only two I can think of.
No, but
I know
there was
they
loads
existed.
of them. There was loads of them in the 90s, and it's funny how like you still can't have a strip show these days without them playing the music from that film
Or referencing it, yeah.
or referencing it.
Hold on a minute. Was Jerome from Robson and Jerome in the Phil Monty?
No.
Oh, just a man who looked like him.
Just a man who looked like him. 1998 saw the actor star in the BBC crime drama Looking After Jojo. And then 1999 saw the actor star in 4 films, including the action comedy Plunkett and McLean.
I love that film.
Along with Johnny Lee Miller.
Yes.
The cult cannibal horror Ravenous, alongside Guy Pearce.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he plays the cannibal.
Yeah.
The drama Angela's Ashes, based on the Frank McCourt book, that was heavy stuff. And then he starred as the villain Renard in the 19th Bond film, The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah.
It's an institution, you know.
It was, who was Bond then? Pierce Brosnan?
It was Pierce Brosnan.
Was that the one with Christmas Jones?
No, that... Was it? Yes, it was. You're right. Well done.
Funniest line in it.
Now, 2000 saw Carlisle star alongside Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who?
Leonardo DiCaprio for his old pal Danny Boyle in The Beach. That's the one where he fell out with Ewan McGregor because he was supposed to give him the job.
Do you think The Beach is a good film?
No.
I love it. I've seen it so many times. I think it's a great film. I think I have really bad taste in films.
No, I think some people did like it, but Bobby Carlisle was in it. He was also in the 51st State where he teamed up with Samuel Jackson.
Great film.
Yep. Unfortunately, though, due in part, I think, to the actor's reluctance to take on roles that he didn't find interesting, or the fear that he was being typecast as a hard man or a villain, he didn't really experience the highs of his early career throughout the 2000s. He was still appearing regularly in smaller British films like Once Upon a Time in the Midlands. He was in the zombie sequel 28 Weeks Later. But he wasn't really doing any sort of bigger films. But eventually, and with a family to now look after, Carlisle said that the call from American telly was too great. And soon he signed up for the lead role in a new series set in the Stargate universe, aptly called Stargate Universe, where he played the lead role of Dr. Nicholas Rush for 2 series.
Not the first Scotsman in the Stargate universe either.
No?
No.
Who
There
was
was
the other one?
There was a Scottish guy in Stargate Atlantis, or there was a Canadian guy doing a rubbish Scottish accent. I don't know which it was, but he had a wee Scottish patch on his suit.
Well, there you are. But anyway, unfortunately, the ratings weren't great for it.
No, nobody, as a Stargate fan, from the films right through to the TV series, to the second TV series, Stargate Atlantis, which featured that big handsome fellow, Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. That big, beautiful man who
Was he in that?
Yeah. I loved that show. But then when they were like, we've got another one, I was like, too much. Luther Vandross was wrong. There is enough.
There is enough. Jason Momoa was enough.
Yes, he was.
Now, following his cancellation, Carlisle said he enjoyed the ability to be an at-home dad.
Yeah.
And he admitted basically doing the Ken Loach films and the interesting roles didn't actually pay all that much.
No.
So he immediately signed up for another television show.
Is it Once Upon a Time?
Yep, playing the
It's
role
so
of
good.
Rumpelstiltskin in the ABC fantasy show Once Upon a Time. The series would run for 7 seasons,
I
with the actor
loved
starring
every season.
in 138 episodes. It's a weird show.
It's so weird.
And if anybody hasn't seen it, it's basically based on everything that you've ever seen in a Disney film.
Anything that's Disney
From the
property
fairy tale,
and fairy
yeah.
tales. So it's essentially like a village where everybody who lives in it is a fairy tale character, but they've forgotten who they are. And that's the premise of the first season.
And many of them play like multiple roles.
No, they all play themselves, but you see them in the village and then you see flashbacks to before they all forgot who they were when they were living like as Snow White before she turned into a school teacher. It's great. Also, the main man and the main lady fell in love in real life.
Oh, there you are. Now, he still dabbled in the film world. He starred and directed in The Legend of Barney Thompson before returning in 2017 to the role that made him famous, teaming up with the old gang for Trainspotting 2. The sequel was a big hit, and the power of nostalgia wasn't lost on Carlisle, as not only is he set to reprise the role of Begbie again for his own limited series starring
that's
as the
okay.
character, but he is also due to get his breaks off once again for Disney Plus with a new sequel series to the Full Monty.
No.
Yeah.
The Fuller Monty.
I don't know what they're going to call it, but the Full Monty will return.
I think that the Begbie spin-off show would be cool, like Better Call Saul kind of thing, hopefully. But I don't know if we need a... Well, I guess we are in another financial crisis, and that was the whole starting point for the Full Monty, was all these men lost...
The licky bill's too much.
Yeah, all those men lost their jobs and were emasculated because women had jobs at the chocolate factory.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen is it's going to be now based here, so it's like, I don't know how to use computers, so I can't have a job anymore. It'll be full of too many references to now.
Okay.
And not 1997.
Right. And you would rather it was just back in 1997?
Yeah, just de-age them all. I'll just don't even waste the money, just pretend.
Now, in your busy work as an extra, have you ever worked with Robert Carlyle?
No.
Oh.
Have you ever worked with Robert Carlyle?
Never worked with him, but I've met him twice. One time he was with Ken Loach. And Ken Loach was receiving his BAFTA Fellowship Award. And I walked up to them and I was all shaky-legged. And I'd snuck him. And I was all shaky-legged. And I was like, "Hello, Mr. Loach. Do you remember when you didn't have money and you had to make a Fairy Ultra advert? I was the child in that advert." Robert Carlyle laughed and went, "That's a weird thing to say." I was like, "Aye." And Ken Loach said, "Oh, you've got taller." And I was like, "Yeah, because I was 5 then. I have got taller."
Way to remind the man on the greatest night of his life, the greatest night of his career, celebrating all of his achievements, for you to remind him of the lowest point.
Yeah. Which he has called it that, because I've watched a documentary about his life, and they said, "What was the lowest point in your career?" And he said, "I had to make adverts."
You reminded him of all that kitchen sink drama. Anyway, now to tonight's song. And whilst Mr. Carlyle did cameo as John Lennon in that terrible film about the Beatles never existing, and the guy from EastEnders stole all their intellectual property, the actor is not actually known for his singing prowess.
Okay.
Which made his role in the following 2012 film strange, because he played a former Britpop rocker.
Did you just balk while you were speaking?
I'm taking a gasp.
Okay.
Because when you hear this, you will also...
What was the film?
It's up to you. Well, I can't say that because the name of the film is the name of the song.
Oh, okay.
I was getting to it. Now you've ruined
California Solo. Here's Robert Carlyle.
You know that good times, it's so hard to forget those. When all your yesterdays shine, but the dreams come, rains come tomorrow. I'm such a long, long way from what I used to call home, and I know so much better than to leave you alone. I guess you and me were just passing the time. And though I may be leaving, I'm still glad you were once mine. Your voice sounds so sad, and my heart's filled with sorrow. Your tears and my pride are both so hard to swallow. And I love the way that it starts come what may, but I hate the way it all ends in disarray. And when I fell down, you took back your sweet hand. Ah, but that's okay, baby, still my beauty, my beautiful lamb. So as the teardrops fall, do I have to beg, steal or borrow? And when did yesterday's sun turn into raindrops tomorrow? I'm guessing that we were just passing the time. But I'll always carry you with me in the back of my mind. I've drunk all your wine when I've been alone. Oh. California, I'm so low, but you've made me home.
That was Bobbert Carlyle with California Solo. Now, here on the Ashley Storrie Show, we rank our Hollywood swingers on a scale of 1 to 100 Kenny Rogers roasters. Kenny Roger being the original and the best Hollywood swinger. I'm going to come to you first, Paul, for your score. How many Kenny Rogers roasters are you giving our homeboy, Bobbert Carlyle?
I mean, it is his birthday. I don't like to kick people whilst they're celebrating their special day. Pretty sure he's listening in whilst he's celebrating his birthday festivities in Canada, but it's not good. I try to take it in the context sometimes of the film, and I would maybe say, oh, if he was just being an amateur guy, just having a wee bit of fun, you wouldn't be so harsh. No, he's literally playing an he's playing an ex-Britpop rocker. He's playing a musician who was supposedly famous, or at least somewhat successful in a band. I'm afraid it fails on that. You alright there?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to give Robert Carlyle 10 Kenny Rogers roasters.
Paul, that's shockingly low. 10 Kenny Rogers roasters. Right, okay. Well, I'm going to argue with you that you are wrong, because if Bob Dylan can be called a singer and we all have to pretend that that's good,
I knew that the Bob Dylan
that's just as good as Bob Dylan. So if Bob Dylan is a big old singing star,
But he's not.
Well, he is.
Well, he is, but he's not good.
Everything he does is like, oh, I'm doing it. And if that's allowed to be music, then Robert Carlyle is believable as a pop star of that ilk, and I will give him 70. 7
I'm choking on bile.
Kenny Rogers roasters, because the argument stands there are worse pop rock stars who sing music like that, who your dad goes, oh, that's brilliant, that's a jam, and
Yeah,
you're
but
like,
they're wrong as well.
it's just a guy who breathes weird singing bad. But if that's music, then that's music. So I'm giving it 70 something. I've forgotten the second number already. 73, 77, 70 something. 70 something Kenny Rogers roasters for Bobbert Carlyle. Get in touch via text at 0295 if you are Robert Carlyle, and let us know what you think of the scores. Also, let us know what your scores are for that song. California Solo with Robert Carlyle. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you indifferent? Martin Orkney has already sent his score and says, for a guy who clearly isn't a natural or confident singer, I think our Rab gave it a good shot. Jerry Rafferty vibes. 55.
Guy's rolling in his grave.
55 Kenny Rogers roasters from Martin in Orkney. We want to hear from you. 80295. Get in touch. Let us know. Also, there's somebody texting in the show that's trying to argue with somebody else and is sending us all their messages. So I'm watching half of a fight going on between a guy and somebody else, which has nothing to do with us and isn't a score. 80295. Your Kenny Roger roaster score for Bobbert Carlyle, or you can email us. What's the email, Paul?
It's Ashley Storrie Show at bbc.co.uk.
Are we actually playing that next song next?
Why? Don't need to if you don't want to.
Can we just go to Stevie Wonder?
Yeah, sure.
Here's Stevie Wonder with Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Oh, is blue in this one?
No.
Rubbish.
Did you want the blue one?
No, that's fine. Stevie Wonder, Signed,
I'll
Sealed,
skip it and I'll
Delivered.
bring it back.
Right, okay. Here's Roxy Music with More Than This.